Welcome to Tuesday Talks with Darleen, and my special guest today is Tamsin Young. Now, Tamsin Young is a CPA who has worked in accounting world for over 30 years. Can't have, you're not that old. And now combines her practical money management knowledge with her intuitive work so that her clients develop their skills to create wealth through a business that works for them and their lifestyle on an emotional, energetic, and financial basis. And I just love this. I love how you're bringing in all your beautiful intuition into this, because when we think about CPAs, we're like, oh, numbers, oh, blah. But this is what I love about what you do. And I would love for you to tell everyone how you actually got into bringing in your intuition to actually help your clients, on that energetic, emotional level.
Mm. Well, first of all, thank you for this invite. It's wonderful to be able to share about the world of money and intuition and how they can work together. And as you said, I've worked in the accounting field for a long time, and it's really a case of where I've worked in tax accounting, so working with people with their year-end accounts, etc., and wanting to move from being somebody's accountant to helping people to really understand their numbers so that it's not just a task I have to do at the end of the year because I have to lodge a tax return and pay the government money and all the blah that goes with it. That it's actually part of being in business, it's part of living. And if we can develop a good relationship with money, then how much more enjoyable will our life be? It's not about the money, but money is just part of the journey. And because I'm more linear logical, working in the accounting field, working with numbers, I've always thought, left brain, right brain, you fall into one side or the other. And I was obviously on the side of the linear logical, but I always had this longing for things of the more intuitive nature, what I'll call the alternative medicines. I've studied a lot of them, I've practiced a lot of them. But I thought, that's not me because I'm the one on this side of the fence and this is my calling, do all that. And the one year I did this course and we did a medical intuitive weekend, and we had to do intuitive readings on each other. And I'm like, oh, well, this will be really interesting. What have I got to offer? I don't have anything. And of course, I could do it. And from there, my confidence grew. I did more work on developing my intuition, being able to go with it, and feeling confident in my working with my intuition. And so I thought, right, well, that's really it. It's the thing that lights me up, being able to be guided by our own internal wisdom. That I don't want to be here to be somebody's guru. I want to be like the guide on the side, the person encouraging you, cheerleading you, helping you to get educated, that you can be guided by your own inner wisdom, and that your figures and your numbers, they're just part of the system. They like feedback because numbers on their own mean nothing. $1 million, what does $1 million mean? Nothing. It's a number. But when you put it into context, oh, I had turnover of $1 million or I had profit of $1 million, those are two very different figures. They have totally different meanings. It's the same number, but in context, it's totally different. Or $1 million turnover this year compared to 100,000 last year. That's more meaningful than $1 million last year and 100,000 this year. You might go, oh, but everything is in relation. Numbers are a relationship thing within themselves and you with them. And so I want people to be able to look at their numbers without fear and use them as a tool for their business. Not that they are the only thing that you can go for, the KPIs that we have to achieve and the expectations that we've got to have a six-figure business, the $1 million business, and all these things about what we have to. They are great. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm not saying, oh, no, don't go for that. Don't have these dreams and goals. Not at all. But everybody has different ways that they want to live. They have different ways that they want to have their life. And it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice one for the other either. So to be able to be in tune with your intuition and work with your numbers as part of the whole way that you operate. It's not your numbers are the only way that you can run your business. It's, as I say, it's all integral. Everything, there is nothing in life that can be taken in isolation. We can't go, this is the one thing that we have, and everything is that. Everything weaves in, and it cycles and rhythms, and our intuition is part of all of that. Intuition on its own is useless unless you actually take action on what your intuitive hits that you get, because otherwise it's just like, that was interesting. And
Yep.
it's, I like to look at it as the yin and yang of money, that there's the money management component of it, and then there's the intuition, energetics, mindset, all that stuff. And you can't have one without the other. You can work on your money mindset, great, and you can have a good relationship, but if you don't work on your money management either, your money can still go down the drain. So it's to have, as I say, it's this whole balancing relationship of everything. And so, very long answer to your question, but yeah, it's just that whole package of bringing that into your life and having it as part of creating the life that you want. Because what I really want people to look at is, what kind of a lifestyle do you want, and how does money management and your money relationship help you? It's almost as you get the money as a result of living the life that you want and creating it, and then how do you manage that money? So, as I say, money isn't the guiding thing. It's not. I'm not being guided by, I want to make $100,000 this year or $1 million. It's, how do I want to serve? What do I want to offer? And then that provides things. And then how do I manage it? So, as I say, I don't like to look at that as being the overarching, I'm creating $1 million business.
Yeah, and I think it's important for business women to understand that, because, and I've said it to clients in the past, like, yes, there's so many people on social media going, oh yeah, I'm making 6-7 figures. If you don't want to do that, don't do that. It's what is going to work for you. And when you say that, people just go, really? You mean I don't need to go for 6-7 figures? No, you don't. You do what you want. And to be able to have that beautiful relationship with the money, and the money tell you a story. And I think that's something that just clicked in when you were talking before. It's like, oh my goodness, money's telling me a story. And it took me forever to realize that intuition and all of this can work together. Like, I've been spiritual or been following my intuition for like 30 years. And it took me forever to realize it can actually work together. Like,
absolutely.
Like, what? So, I mean, and that's why I love, people like you that really do incorporate all of that. So how do you help your clients, come to the beautiful realization that money is a story? We can use our intuition. You don't have to make the 6 figures.
It depends on everybody's individual. So I don't have like a cookie cutter method of, okay, come along and work with me and we'll work for 6 sessions, and week 1 we will look at whatever, and then week 2 we will go on to the next thing, because people have different levels of knowledge. So depending on where they are from a knowledge point of view, depends on where you start, and so that I may need to develop more of their knowledge and understanding of numbers than the intuition side. So depending, they may be heavier on one side than the other. So it's a case of understanding, right, where are you? What do you understand? What do you want to achieve? What is the lifestyle that you want to have? And, what is really calling your heart? What is, I always look at it as being like soul aligned kind of work that you want to do. And doing that and living the lifestyle, creating a business around your lifestyle as opposed to creating a lifestyle around your work. And and then from that, helping them tune into their intuition, into that vision. What are the action steps that you are being called to take to create that? And then using the money and their numbers as a guide, because they will give you feedback as to whether you're on the right path or not. These are the things that I want to do. This is what it's going to cost me. You've got an idea of how much money you need to have flowing in. And, are we getting there? Well, yes, no, whatever. And how can we tweak things? What are we taking action from fear-based because we're trying to avoid something? And it's easy to think, oh, I'm following my intuition, but sometimes, as I say, we pick up on the wrong things and we go down the wrong path.
Mm,
And so it's just that whole path. And as I say, I really consider myself more as a guide,
mm,
and I don't like to tell people what to do.
mm,
From the knowledge based side, yes, I'm happy to instruct and explain and all that, because your knowledge isn't necessarily going to be increased by your intuition. You may get an intuitive hit on how to handle something, or to go and buy something, or something to offer which will impact your money, but
mm,
it may not help you understand the mechanics of how
mm,
money works, and a method that you can develop. And I will have different ways that you can do things, but I won't say this is the way, this is my way, and it's my way or the highway kind of thing. And I can give people ideas of this is how you can keep track of your money, that you can manage it, and whether it's a bucket system, envelope system, something online, drawing pictures,
mm,
whatever the thing is that talks to you and is understanding for you. I have a certain way, and when people
mm.
don't do it the same way, I kind of go, I mean, it doesn't mean something to you. But I've worked with so many clients over the years, and everybody brings the information in a different way. And you think, well, how many different ways can you have? Well, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But and it's my skill comes from being able to adapt to the client, and right, this is
Mm,
what you have. Let's find something that works for you. Because if I try and force them into my box of this is the way, they're just going to flail around and struggle and go, too hard,
mhm.
I'm out of here.
Yep.
And then they've lost.
Mhm.
Whereas if you can create that sanctuary for them that they feel comfortable with, that they can understand,
Mm,
that they then feel confident to make those next steps, that's what I'm wanting to do. So I'm very much a believer in giving people, teaching them how to fish, as opposed to just giving them
mm.
the fish. I don't want them to feel that they have to keep running back to me for the answers. Absolutely, I'm always happy for clients to come back and we do more work and we develop and take to another level, but not that they don't have the confidence in themselves to know what to do. Um, so yeah, it really is an individual way, and I may have a basic structure of what we do, but a lot of it is dictated by what the client is looking at and wanting to work on.
I just love how you said there's no cookie cutter system, because there are so many people out there that literally this is my way and you follow it and this is what you
Yeah,
do. And it's like,
yeah,
so that's why I really, when people like you say that, I'm like, oh, thank goodness, it's like, yes, you're actually listening to the client. And I think that's the biggest thing is clients want to be heard. They actually want
yeah.
to be heard. So when you've got someone that's like, this is the way it's done, and it's like, well, I'm not getting heard. That's not going to work for me. So if you told me this is the way to do it, I'd be like, yeah, right. You're telling me, an Aries type A personality, what to do? Right.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And talking about numbers, do you also help the clients understand, like all the services and products they've got? Do you help them understand, you know, what's working and what's not? Like, they might have, say, 3 services, and can you help them understand what's actually working?
Mm. Well, what I like to do is for people to understand, not just look at the numbers of, oh, this service is, I've earned 500,000 from that. Oh, I must do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the number, again, going back to that relationship. How do you feel offering that service? And if
Mm,
that service is something that's really draining to you energetically, emotionally, and you just go, oh my God, do I have to do these clients again? And it may have been a service that you offered and it was the best thing that you're doing then, but you've now grown from there, and that is not where you want to be anymore. You want to be
mm,
offering service too, but when you look at the numbers, you go, well, I'm not getting that much money for it. So
mm,
financially, it's not worth it. But I'm going to burn out. And
mm.
that happens to everybody in corporate, or
Yeah.
most people in corporate. And
Mm,
people go, oh, and then they kind of get stuck in the same thing. But now it's their business. They can't just walk away. Obviously, you can, but
yeah.
they feel of this thing.
Mm,
So it's looking at how is it doing financially? How do you feel emotionally? And as I say, again, everything is a story.
mm,
You can look at it as a black and white figure, or
mm,
you can look at it as well as, right, what is the story and my connection to that. And
Mm.
we change, and
Yes.
some people will offer the same service their whole life and just go deeper and deeper into it, and that is, they're quite happy doing that.
Mm.
Other people will evolve. They'll start off with offering one-to-ones, and then they start developing small weekend courses or something, and then that develops into a year-long course, and then they create a next level from that. But everything is growing from it. Starts this little seed that just ripples out.
Mm.
Is one better than the other? No.
Mm.
It's, again, it comes back to what feels good for you. Are you not progressing to the next level because of fear,
Mm.
or because it just doesn't interest you? You're quite happy doing where you are and what you're doing. So when you know, back to your question of understanding those numbers and how they're working for them, it's there is the number crunching side of it. Yeah, there's that. But as I said, it's not just a number crunching exercise. That is not really the most important part of it, because if you're earning that $1 million or $500,000, however much it is, and you are miserable,
Mm.
what are you doing? You know, that to me is not creating the lifestyle that you want. So what can we change? Is there something you can tweak in the way you're offering that service? Or do we need to put more energy and life into something else and growing that, and how can we change it, and that? So it's a conversation. As I say, I'm not going to go and look at it and go, yep, that's making you a lot of money. It's really, you know, the return you're getting on that is fantastic. Oh, but I don't like it. Oh, tough luck, because, you know, I mean, why would you say no to it? You know, it's your real money spinner.
Mm.
It's a conversation. It's a relationship between me and the client
Mm.
of, right, I have these insights. What are your thoughts and feelings and whatever, and allowing them to see things from different perspectives, and no right or wrong.
Mm.
I'm not going to make a final decision for you. What feels right? Maybe you need to go and sit and think about it for a day, a week, a month, or whatever, and spend that time going, okay, am I really that happy doing this work? How could I develop this? And allowing yourself that time to tune into it and see where it's going to lead you next. This isn't about, right, we're in the session,
Mm.
let's get a session going. Come on, which answer, come on, let's go for it, kind of thing. It's, you know, some people can make a decision like that, and that's perfect. That's the way you work. It's the way you work. Other people, I like to sit with things for a while. I call it percolating with something. That's me. But I'm not going to force that on anybody else either. It's understanding yourself, how you think, how you feel, how things come to you. What environment do you need? I mean, intuition doesn't go, oh, okay, she's sitting quietly under the tree now, I can go and speak to her. That's just
Oh,
when we
really?
hear it. It's probably, yeah, it's kind of smacking us on the face all the time. But, you know, sometimes you just need to have that quiet time where you can, okay, let me just sit quietly and think, because we can be so good at keeping ourselves busy that we tune out from our intuition. So how can I give myself more opportunity to hear it in the moment and work from there? So it's, as I say, I like to look at it as being a package as well of working on all sides, and people will come from, I want to work on money management, or I want to work on energy, with the money, and they come together. You can't do it in isolation. You need to work through it with that. And you know what we were talking about earlier with specific ways. As I said, there is a structure. Accounting, and they're the basic principles of accounting. There's debits and credits and whatever, those parts of it which aren't going to change. You have to do things that, but it's the interpretation and how you record it. And one of my mentors, he talks about, you can't have a blueprint or checklist of how you live your life, because creators, geniuses who live from their intuition, that does not have a checklist. So I cannot possibly come in with a pre-planned of how I'm going to tell you that we're going to move forward, because your creator, your genius is going to guide us. I can tune into that. I can use my intuition as well and work with you, but I cannot give you a blueprint or a checklist, because Not if you want to work at that level of your creator genius level and with your intuition.
Mm,
There is no checklist for
mm,
that, because everybody is unique and will come up with their own ways of offers and being and the kind of lifestyle and the things that they want in their life.
mm,
And that's what makes life such fun, is that we have this individuality
mm.
and these callings in life. Isn't that what we want?
Yeah.
To be able to be at that individual, that uniqueness,
Mm,
and welcome that in everybody else as well.
mm. But Mum, I want a checklist.
Yeah, I know. I'm just as guilty, and I can tell you, so being a linear logical, it's a real struggle for me as well to go,
Mm.
okay, oh yes, that's great, but can I have a checklist, please? And can I have a blueprint and know exactly where we're going? I want a mud map of where we're going. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, it doesn't work that way. And that has been one of my biggest struggles.
mm,
Overanalyzer,
mhm,
needing to know all the details. I need to understand.
mhm,
So I get it.
mhm.
It's my constant struggle.
Yeah.
I'm no, I'm not the. I haven't perfected all this intuition stuff as yet. I don't know if one ever does.
No, no, I'm the same because I'm left and right brain because I worked in the medical field for 30 years. So you can imagine
Yeah.
how left brain that was. And then I developed my intuition and it's like, hang on, what? Huh? You mean I've got to trust and I've just got to let it happen? And what? So
Now,
yes.
I want that assurance. I want that certainty. Yeah. No, sorry.
And I want it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Tell me to
Absolutely. And
trust
yeah.
in divine time. It's like, excuse me.
Sorry, I need to put it in my calendar.
Yeah,
What time should I put it down for happening?
exactly. Let me just get my diary out. So, okay, so 2023. Yep. Okay, great.
Yeah, yeah. And and we do. It
Mm,
makes us feel comfortable. It gives us that security. And I think Tony Robbins talks about it. We want that security and that certainty, but we also want that uncertainty. So I mean, we have that internal struggle in us
mm,
anyway, because as soon as it gets certainty and we know, we go,
mm.
so bored.
Yeah.
And so it comes, but I love the yin yang symbol, because
Mm,
it's just that balance. You've got to have the light and the dark, and
yes.
everything just works together.
Mm,
It's your intuition hits, you're taking those steps out.
mm,
It's the practical, the intuitive, the emotional, practical
mm,
action. As I say, it's all,
mm,
there's not one of it. Well, your intuition is the master, and our ego and all that needs to be the servant and follow that out. But they still have to work
mm,
together. It's like having that instruction, taking that action.
mm,
It's all. It's just when we work with nature, when we work with the cycles, when we work with our rhythms, and our own
mhm,
personal rhythms,
mm.
life can be so different.
Mm, it can. And I didn't fall in love with my numbers until I actually embraced my darkness. So, for people that follow, they know that I've got depression, anxiety, and PTSD. So, for me to go into that darkness with the light, like bringing my light into there, then I actually started looking at my numbers and started falling in love with them and started
Mm,
realizing the story they had. And that's,
yeah,
that's what it's about. It's about going there with the light, like, okay, yes, there's darkness there. I'm going to bring my light in and I'm going to actually have a look at all of that.
yeah.
Mm,
And, well, I mean, what's that saying about going into the cave, and something about what your seeking's like in the cave, and you go in and you've got to go through the cave, and it's going into that darkness,
mm,
but there are the jewels that you're looking for. I can't remember the
yeah.
exact saying, but
Mm,
it's going into that darkness and being willing to,
mm,
you're not going to sit in that darkness
mm.
and be
Yeah.
lost there forever. You're
Yes.
going into it, and you're coming out the other side. It's just
Mm,
like a trip, and when you realize that this isn't something that's going to be
mm, mm,
over, it feels that way,
yeah.
but you keep moving. If you
Mm,
keep moving through it, you will come out the other side.
yes. Yeah. And it's the same thing with our numbers. Like, we've got the fears and the beliefs and everything, which are a little bit of the darkness. If we can embrace those when we're looking at our numbers, we can really move forward beautifully.
Yeah. And the other thing with our numbers is they are a point in time.
Mm,
We captured them at that time.
mm-hmm,
Boom. It's just like one moment in time. And it could be your bank account went into overdraft $10, 100,000, whatever.
Mm,
And it could be one day it was an overdraft, but
mm,
you go, oh my God, my account went into overdraft. And it becomes this big thing. You
mhm,
just happen to look at it. In fact, it could have been one transaction and then a deposit came in to count that. But
mm,
all you see is that number went to, oh, when I saw it, my heart just sank. Now, you
mm.
don't look at the next transaction to
Yes.
see you coming out of it and
Mm,
going, yeah, but everything's okay.
mm.
Oh, I could have been out on the streets. And you tell this whole big
Yep.
story about what could have happened. It didn't happen.
Mm,
And we're actually moving forward.
mm,
Or, yeah, that's where you are now.
mm,
This is this moment in time.
mhm.
We can move from there. How do we change it? What do we do differently? And
Yep.
say it's a guide, it's a
Mm,
prompt, and it feels like our reality and like it's the only thing that's possible that can happen. But
mm.
it's not the only reality. It's just it's a little speck,
Yes.
and things can change.
Mm. And that's the thing, embracing it and knowing that that is a snapshot in time. Things can get so much better. And that's why embracing those fears and beliefs and everything, really embracing them and just moving forward is just so much easier. Like it really,
Yeah,
and I'm coming from experience. Like,
yeah,
I used to look at my numbers with absolute fear because I didn't want
yeah,
to see them. I didn't want to look at my bank accounts or anything. And now it's like, okay,
absolutely.
great. So that's what's happening. Okay, great. And, it's just like, wow,
Yeah,
it's such a difference. And so to have
yeah,
someone like you who can help us do that, it's so important. And that's why,
yeah.
I really, really embrace those business women that do bring in the intuition. And they may not bring it in like you've done, but they use it in their business, maybe personally or whatever. And
Mm,
it's so powerful. Like it really
yeah,
is powerful.
yeah.
And so I'd love to know how you actually work on your intuition every day to really increase that and make it even better in your business.
Mm. Um, For me, what's really important is spaciousness and stillness.
Mm,
So I don't like that feeling of being rushed and
mm,
overwhelmed. It doesn't mean I can't do a lot in a day, but it's to have that spaciousness of when I'm doing things that, this feels good. And having that time to create that stillness and again
mm,
creating it throughout the day. It's not, oh, I'm going to meditate this morning and expect that to take me all the way through the end of the day. It's taking a moment, however often I need during the day, to come back, recenter. And it can be a breath, it can
mm,
be breathing in love, breathing out gratitude, and
mm.
just bringing myself to the moment because it's very easy to get caught up in life and
Yeah.
into that franticness. And as I say, it doesn't mean living a life of, oh, I'm floating around and, whatever, and I don't get much done because I'm just, off with the fairies and whatever. I can still be very practical. I can still be very productive. And there's a difference between being
Mm,
busy and being productive.
yes.
And so it's a constant practice of, I suppose, mindfulness is one
Mm,
way of describing it as well, and coming back to myself, coming back to my center, and tuning in, and as I say, reminding myself, and bringing myself back to the task that I'm doing.
mm,
That whatever task it is, doing that with joy, because when you can bring that love to the work that you're doing, that opens you up. I mean, love and intuition, you can't
mm-hmm.
go too far wrong
Yeah.
with any of that. And then reflecting as well on my day as
Mm,
how was my day?
mm,
Where did I kind of fall short of how I would like to be living my life? And where did I get an intuitive hit to do something that I maybe decided that I knew better and
yeah.
chose not to do it. And we don't, when we get these intuitive hits, we don't always get confirmation
Mm,
immediately afterwards. Well done, Tamsin. Here's your reward. Go forth and multiply, kind of thing. And we don't always, when we make the wrong mistake or
mm,
don't do something or whatever, we don't necessarily immediately get a smack on the chops and go, "Oh, that was stupid." It can only be down the track sometimes that we see how the pieces fell into place or how that missed opportunity could have supported us. So
mm,
it's just reflecting on how can I improve myself and taking that time. I like having those moments of meditating and that. but I can't spend my day in meditation. I can meditate in the day with the things that I'm doing through that mindfulness, but not sitting in that space of meditation. You know, it's the
Yeah,
same thing, but it's different.
yeah, it is. It is.
And yeah, it is a constant work in progress
Mm,
with it, and aligning myself as well on a regular basis with what do I want to create and how do I need to be different and take action differently with what I'm doing.
mm,
And it's finding practices that work for you as to help you with your intuition.
mm,
And having the working with my intuition isn't the difficult part, it's having the faith
mm,
to act on the inspiration that I get.
mm,
Getting intuitive hits is the easy part.
mm. Yeah.
You know, it's like, yep, absolutely. Oh, I actually have to do something about that now. That's that's actually for me
Mm,
the biggest challenge
mm,
is the taking action because it makes you feel uncomfortable. The
mhm,
steps aren't necessarily hard,
mm,
but they make you feel freaking uncomfortable,
mhm.
and you go, do I want to do that? Ooh. So that for me is my challenge.
Mm. I love how you said that, and I love how you just said two beautiful things: the mindfulness and the reflection. You know, they can just
Yeah.
be so beautiful. And I really want to, thank you for your time today. It's been absolutely amazing. Again, I could talk to you forever. Like it's just, I just like these interviews I'm having are just so profound that I really could speak to people forever. And so I want to thank you very much for your time because I know you've taken time out today. And I want to thank you for your time. And for everyone following, please check the description because I have got how you can find Tamsin. And please, go and work with Tamsin because when you can work with somebody that gets you and understands the numbers and everything, it's so good. So absolutely good.
Mm.
Mm,
Oh, well, thank you, Darlene. Like you, I can talk about this for a
mm,
long, long time. And it's, to be able to share this and for people,
mm,
particularly women, because that's
mm,
really my passion is working with women, um, to get them to have a different concept of money and how it can fit into their life and
mm,
to have that financial freedom. And financial freedom to me isn't about, oh, I never have to work in my life.
mm,
It's knowing that you can take care of yourself because you have the skills and the abilities that um, you need to do whatever you want. And you don't have to rely on anybody else. And that to me is a big thing is that you are capable. You can be the captain of your own ship and do your
mm,
own thing. Doesn't mean you don't have to have a relationship in your life, but
mm,
you don't need that financial reliance on somebody else. And
mm.
that to me is a major step for changing how women are treated in the
Mm.
world.
Beautiful. And on that
So,
absolutely beautiful note, thank you again. And I'm sure I'll actually be talking to you again. So thank you everyone for following, and I'll see you on another beautiful video.